So I came up with this funny little A strat. I'm gonna read through it real quick. See if you guys think that it is a good idea or worth running. It was inspired by Donaldson's Consult the Bones plan. Because I thought that it would be pretty funny to be like, oh, let's do a thing, but only if we get like a certain amount of stopwatch. But yeah, it's kind of like Consult the Bones, because it's do it unless we can't do the plan, or like delay until we can do the plan. And I thought about it, and I'm like, what would be something that I could like kind of stretch out to like save the world, but could be like worked for even at like the lowest local level. And I was like, okay, what if it's something that just makes everybody happier, or like, well, yeah. So I'll read it and I'll see what you guys think. So okay, so our plan is to delay the Witten's heavy terminal lift project until a federal law is passed requiring all politicians to be nude. For this debate, we will have the definition of nude meaning permitting or featuring full exposure of the human body from the American Heritage Dictionary of the English Language, 5th edition, when working, and working will mean actively advancing their political career or performing duties expected to them as a member of the government in their position. With the exception of personal protective equipment as defined by OSHA, when required, also defined by OSHA. And as a part of this bill, the legal definition of public indecency would be amended to no longer include simply being nude or exposing one's genitals passively. The people of Humboldt County would go about achieving this plan through normal means, which means having protests, having rallies, writing to politicians, just making it generally known that this is a desirable thing, and holding a political campaign to achieve it. So, there's a lot of things you need to know about the world right now that would be useful to understanding why this plan is important. Firstly, the government is corrupt. Pretend I'm reading a statistic about how many people think the government is corrupt. People are unhappy. Pretend I'm reading a statistic about how many people are unhappy. People don't trust the government. Pretend I'm reading a statistic about how many people don't trust the government. U.S. global hegemony is fading. Pretend I'm telling a story about how China is like winning a bunch of stuff, and I'm listing how America is totally flubbing it right now, like with Doge and stuff. So, politics are ruled by traditional decorum. This is seen in how everyone wears a suit. A lot of people are old. Everyone's following the old playbook right now. And most politicians are out of touch and old. Pretend I'm saying a statistic about how many politicians are over the age of whatever, or how many are boomers or something, right? Change is needed. That's pretty clear. Things are bad right now. Look how many people are unhappy. It's also true that sunlight is good for you. Pretend I'm reading a statistic about how sunlight is good for you. And suits are expensive. Pretend I'm saying suits are expensive and giving an example. So, here's some uniqueness about how being naked could fix that. It makes people feel more exposed and open. Pretend I'm citing a survey where people say this. It makes people seem less threatening. Pretend I'm citing a survey saying this, or giving an example of a story, or it's like if a guy's robbing you or something, I don't know. And clothes inhibit thinking. I do actually have a card on this somewhere. It's about how the type of clothes you're wearing make you think like the type of clothes you're wearing. So if you're wearing a suit, you're going to think like someone wearing a suit, which makes it more cookie cutter and formulaic. So what does this mean? It means politicians would be held under more scrutiny because they're more exposed. They would have to perform and act in better ways. But they would also feel less threatening and more approachable because of their lack of clothing. And they would be more effective. They would be able to think outside of the box. They wouldn't need to be restrained as much by that traditional political decorum. And we do concede that attractive people would have advantages in politics, but that is already the case, and that this wouldn't change too much. But even if it does, then it would be a good thing, because it would push the median age of like politicians down, which would be very useful and good. So, at the minimum, this just proves that there is a vocal push for this kind of thing, a people-focused government and policies, but at best, we increase global productivity, cooperation, togetherness, which could solve for the world ending in very many ways, like cat bad, nuke war, or global warming. So, how do we solve for all of those? We get improved global relations. This is because if our politicians show up to a meeting, they're gonna seem a lot more personable, a lot more friendly, a lot more approachable, and a lot more human. So you're gonna walk into that meeting. Imagine you're Putin. You're walking down into a meeting with Donald Trump. He's sitting on the chair. He is naked on his nice little velvet chair. He's sitting there, legs spread. You're Putin, right? You're gonna be tempted to laugh a little bit. That's gonna catch you off guard. You're not gonna be in there like, oh, this is my enemy. You're gonna be like, no, this is another human being. We can work together here, right? And what's that going to do? It's going to improve the lives of the American people. They're going to have politicians they can trust. They're going to have politicians who are directly focusing on their needs and policies because they can't hide behind a suit. They can't hide behind traditional decorum. So they're going to have to actually come up with good policies that the people need, and that's going to improve lives for everyone. Not to mention the changing of like public indecency laws would allow them to be naked in their daily lives, giving the scientific benefits of nudity to the American people and not just the politicians and the elite. And this would also make the government less corrupt. So they would again be working towards bettering the lives of the people instead of bettering the lives of corporate donors. And it would make the government more efficient because they wouldn't be able to hide behind those old traditional ideas of decorum and stuff like that, so they would have to be beholden to the people and have to be open and have to be honest with everybody because of this change, and the scientific benefits of being nude would be extended to them, and they could make better laws and such. So what this plan does is it makes a better world for everyone by forcing those at the top and setting a precedent of those at the top to be more open, honest, and more beholden to the people. This isn't just about having naked people stand on stage. This is about forcing forward a political revolution where politicians go back to being focused on the people and their constituents instead of simply being up there to be up there to earn their political donation money and just to go and follow the party line. It would make people again in politics, instead of having politicians be cardboard cutouts of suits in front of podiums. It would make the politicians more human, and it would make humans better overall. So that's time, basically. I would stop there. I can't really put it in the best words because it's 1 a.m. and I thought of this in the shower. But I think it's really funny, and I definitely know I can pull some cards on it. And I think getting a thing where it's like, yeah, we're gonna make all the politicians be naked and have a global cultural revolution for more honest politics. Oh damn! I want to use that last 30 seconds to actually say why it's important to do this before we can do the plan. It would basically boil down to this has bigger impacts overall, and that we can't properly discuss any plan while our politicians are being lobbied by corporate interests and like being constrained to traditional ways of thinking. So it would be like, we can't get anything done until we do this, we institute this plan, we get this bill passed to make politicians be naked all the time. So that would be the thing basically. Is we have to do this first, and if we can't do this first, then politics sucks and are worthless and we can't trust them. So I think I could try and steer this towards anti-corruption, and I definitely know a lot of it can be worked out, but I wanted to share the idea and be like, does anyone think this can work? Does anyone want to run this with me? Because if I'm just working on this A strat by myself and I bring it to like a club meeting and nobody wants to run it, then I'm not going to put any more effort into it. But if someone thinks this can work or thinks it's funny enough to put some time into, I'll start looking into cards over the break. So, yeah. Very cool, very funny. Let me know. Thank you.